Hello, I'm Denis, and by the end of this video you will understand how you can double the number of product demos that you're getting for your B2B SaaS every single week. So let me just open up this diagram and talk about the following. So many B2B SaaS founders, especially early stage, and those who often transitioned into running a B2B SaaS startup from other unrelated areas, they often confuse the marketing channels and go-to-market strategy that they proceed with. That's how it turns out that, for example, you might have seen that one channel has gotten you a bit more traction than the other, and you started putting some effort here, some effort there, but you are more, like trying to do everything at once and don't have clear confidence in what's gonna work better for you. So in this video I want to break down the concept of demand creation offers and demand capture offers so that you have more confidence in any marketing strategy that you're going to be pursuing, because even before you put a lot of money and effort into it, you will know that yes, it makes sense for you. So the idea is the following, that in business, there are two types of offers. There are demand creation offers and there are demand capture offers. As you see from this visual that I created, the idea with demand creation offer is that you got to create demand for it. Whereas for demand capture, you capture the demand to scale it up. For instance, let's take something like visa services to Spain. If you would want, for example, and look, this is a very relevant thing that I see a lot of startups doing. Imagine that you open an agency helping people get visa to Spain quicker. And what you do is, instead of relying on demand capture offers, you would set up LinkedIn outbound campaigns, you would start doing cold email blasts, and yes, sure, if you send 1 million emails, sometimes you will bump into people who actually did not have a Schengen visa and would need to create this visa for Spain. But the proportion of them is going to be super small. It's like you would be lucky to get 1 out of 10,000 or something. Yes, sure, if you get more thoughtful lead lists, your chances increase. However, with demand capture mechanisms, it's just still gonna be so much easier. Because imagine, instead of you setting up outbound campaigns to send 10,000 or 1 million emails to find people who are now trying to get a visa or who are trying to book tickets and flights to Spain, instead, what you would do is you would set up Facebook ad campaigns, or for example, what other relevant channel this would be? Could be YouTube ads, Google ads, Facebook ads. This ones would be the easiest to go with. And what you would do is you simply would run ads for people who are interested in flying to Spain, and the algorithm would understand who to show this to. Another demand capture mechanism would be SEO, and that's why if you Google get visa or get tickets to Spain, you will find a ton of websites offering you this, because they are going for demand capture mechanisms, which are SEO, ads, then SEO ads, partnerships, and referrals. So for example, these ones would be very suitable for demand capture offers. I have once made a mistake of trying to scale a startup to 60k MRR, the client I've been working with, and they had, what I now understand, they had a demand capture offer, and I was trying to use demand creation mechanisms in order to scale it. So their SaaS was about AI logo creation and few things for basically, automating logo design, to put it simple way. And I've been trying to put different systems for cold outbound for them, and it never was really taking off unless we restructure it and redesign the release flow such way that we started putting way more focus on demand capture mechanisms, which were SEO, ads, and partnerships. And that's when they started seeing a lot more traction. Now, coming back to demand creation offers, these are offers for which you create demand in the market and for which you need to go after people in order to sell to them. And these are, for example, roofing services, or what else could it be? This could also be lead generation services, or in SaaS terms, this would be something like an software which allows call centers to analyze and get more out of the call recordings easier. Another client I'm scaling right now, gotten them from 10 to 17k MRR in a few months. The idea there is that naturally people in such demand creation offers, yes, there may be situations when they are solution and problem aware. However, most of the times you would need to be the one putting sort of like brute force, or let's call it putting more effort into creating demand for the offer. So for example, I've also done a mistake that for a long time horizon I've been heavily relying on demand creation mechanisms in order to scale my coaching offer. And I've seen that, well, it's just so much easier to get someone to basically start coaching someone when they're looking for it. And that's why since recently I've been more active on LinkedIn ads and have built out a decent funnel there. Then you see a lot of my YouTube videos, and you're watching one here right now, because it just makes everything so much easier. However, if you ask me, is it possible to scale a demand capture offer through demand creation mechanisms? For example, selling the offer for like tickets to Spain through outbound mechanisms, which are LinkedIn outbound, cold email, cold calling. This would be the primary ones. It is possible, but it would come down a lot to the quality of lead lists, because the more generic it is, the harder time you're gonna have. And secondly, it's possible, but it's just so much harder, and you would need to do so much more volume. As I've mentioned, yes, you can get your SaaS in front of those people who are trying to get tickets to Spain. However, it's just gonna be so much more challenging rather than if you just launched a quick Google or Facebook ad campaign. So coming back to the example, why you are not booking 2 times more meetings right now is oftentimes because the founder is missing what types of mechanisms they need to be using. If you've got a demand creation offer, go for LinkedIn outbound, cold calling, and LinkedIn outbound. These are the most common channels that we apply to grow B2B SaaS startups. However, please be thoughtful that it always comes down to your ICP. For example, if your ideal customer profile is not to be found on LinkedIn, it does not make much sense for you to be sending out a ton of LinkedIn messages if you're selling to boomers who are a lot more active on Facebook, for example, or you get me. Then another question here, is it possible to scale a demand creation offer through demand capture mechanisms? For example, for you to scale up your SaaS, which is, for example, let's take another client of mine. AI that helps you get more out of your call recordings for your call center. So what happened there? They hit a ceiling with their SEO efforts, and then they needed to expand into demand creation mechanisms, because even with them being in top 3 of Google, they could not grow their MRR as much as they would like to every single month. And that's why we started looking into more demand creation mechanisms like cold calling, and that's exactly where we're pulling more traction right now. So the thing here is you got to be aware of, well, does your buyer profile have problem awareness and solution awareness? Because if, for example, I've got, or I don't know, let's take something that something on my website can be broken. I doubt it is, but let's take this one. If something was on my website is broken but everything looks fine to me, I am not problem aware. For someone to now sell me a 5K website fix just like that, it would be uneasy, especially unless they really educate me what's this big thing that I'm missing that is so impactful to me. And then I may have a problem. For example, I may understand that I have something broken on the website, but I would not be solution aware, and I would not need, like, basically, or the thing which happens with a lot of old-fashioned companies or these large enterprises, that they see that they are missing a lot of leads in follow-ups, but they don't know a better way to do it, because yes, they are problem aware, but they're not solution aware. And here you go and offer them a solution for automated follow-ups and streamlining their pipeline processes. This would make them solution aware. The thing to be aware of, once again, is that in your market, people may be problem aware, but if they're not solution aware that tools like yours exist, then demand capture offers are not gonna, demand capture mechanisms are not gonna be super useful to you. And you will also go through such situation that one client of mine have gone through, that even by you securing top 3 place in Google search, you'd still not be getting consistent 10-20 demos a week, you know. So again, for demand creation offer, use demand creation mechanisms. For demand capture offer, it's much easier to scale with demand capture mechanisms. Another idea to understand here is the concept which I call a sure shot formula. So let me put it here. The sure shot formula is about the following: that we want to know how many inputs are gonna be converting into a certain amount of sales. If in your channel that you've chosen you don't know how these inputs are converting to sales, either you don't understand channel well enough, or you should better not rely on this funnel that you have in mind. So let me take an example here. If you, and I'll title it Sure Shot Formula. Let me double check that it's recording. Yeah, awesome. Sure shot formula. The idea here is inputs. We want to know how many inputs are getting us this many sales. Cold email. Number of emails sent, converting to a certain number of sales. Typically, the KPI for cold email these days is to be booking at least one qualified meeting per 1,000 emails. Cool. And typically, for a healthy funnel, you want to be running 5 calls to close 1 sale. Imagine you're selling somewhere between like 1 and 10 grand a month type SaaS. So this would make it a healthy, scalable funnel. And in this case, you would need to put more effort on scale this up, because if your numbers are in the benchmark, then basically just double check with me. I'll show you how you can put volume there. So for LinkedIn outbound, roughly we're looking at 3 meetings. By the way, so here is going to be number of messages sent to existing connections, with the connections you added, number of messages. Here, typically we're looking at 3 meetings per 100 messages sent. Per 100 messages sent. If you're getting 3 qualified calls per 100 outbound messages, 5 calls getting you a sale, you're set. Now you scale it up. And then for SEO, many people don't know how you can make SEO predictable. This still in some way can be broken down into a reliable way. Here we would be looking at content pieces and backlinks. If you have, for example, you can double check your SEO efforts, and if you have top 3 articles which are responsible for 90% plus of all your sales and conversions, then it's about the number of backlinks to attract into this content pieces. Roughly right now on the market you get backlinks somewhere between, so it would take domain authority around 40 to 60. You get those from an agency around 200 to 300 per each, or say 350 per each. And if we're talking about freelancer, this costs around 50 to $100 each, approximately. So you scale up the content, you scale up the backlinks, and you can be measuring, okay, how our content and backlinks have been responsible for sales in a certain horizon. Then for ads, it's quite easier. So for example, you'd be looking at the amount of dollars you spend on ads, turning into how many meetings booked and then sales made. Why I love applying this sure shot formula when I start working with any startup is because in order for you to get to the first 100k MRR, it's pretty much the only way there is, unless you want this to take more than 5-7 years. For you to get to 100k MRR after launch within less than a year or 2 years, the sure shot formula is the streamlined way to get there, because you would know, okay, what are the exact inputs you need to be making for you to be making more sales, and then you can adjust all your company operations accordingly. So for example, if you see how to make $1,000 you need 2 content pieces and 6 backlinks a month, guess what you do? Exactly. And then you plan accordingly so that you can make not 1 but 10, 20, 40k MRR and onwards. When choosing this channel for your startup, the reference which would be super useful is understanding this demand creation and demand capture offers. Typically, as it is impossible to know in advance which channel are going to perform best for you, because I mean, I've done it over 100 times with different startups, and still it's not that they have 100% prediction rate when coming down to which channel are going to result in the quickest product market fit and channel market fit. That's why typically we test 2 to 3 channels, and the one startup I'm onboarding later this week, we're going to be putting more focus on Facebook ads and cold calling, for example. The other startup I've been chatting last Thursday, it's going to be more of a cold email journey, because for them we want to be doing cold email leads and so on. So you want to test a bunch of channels, consider which type of offer, whether demand creation or demand capture you have, and then apply the sure shot formula mechanism to understand how you can make more revenue. When you have those elements and pieces together and your benchmarks are somewhere here, then it's about scaling. And basically, if you go to saascam.com and share in which current situation you're in, I can point you to the best next steps, as long as you're B2B SaaS founder looking to scale to 50k to 500k MRR, because I've gotten tens startups there already. So appreciate you watching this video and have a good one.